Alright guys, today I'm going to walk you through the only four ways to get customers online for your business. Now this actually applies to any business in general, and it is very, very simplified, and we're taking it from the Lord and Saviour Alex Hormozi. The framework that he's put together to simplify this is the way that I really started to understand that it is that simple, and business actually isn't that hard when you really understand what you're doing. So it took me years to figure this out on my own, and this was before I knew the framework. So I ended up figuring it out, and then once I seen this framework, I was like, wow, it is really that simple. So credit to him for putting that together. But let me just walk you through the journey. If you don't know me at all, we scaled a fitness coaching brand to over 250 active clients. It took us a long time to do that. It took me 6 years. So when I really doubled down on coaching was in about 2017, 2018. And then to 2022 is when I got to over 100 clients myself. So it took me 4 years. When you think about it, it's not too bad. But if I'd have known the channel to get customers that I needed to focus on, I'm 100% confident I could have done that in the first year. Or at least within 12 to 18 months, let's say. I was relying purely on just posting content, hitting and hoping, maybe hoping something would go viral, and that's the way I would get leads. And that was what was happening. I was just posting content. That was the only thing I was focusing on, and it was very much hit and hope strategy, and that was then resulting in me just having maybe clients come now and again, inquiries come now and again. 1 week's a good week, 1 week's a bad week. Basically having no direct control on whether I can actually, if I can't pull a lever and get more leads, for example. And that's what you need. You need a lever you can pull to be able to get more leads. And that's what I'm going to show you now, how you can actually do that today. It is very simple. It is also very boring, but it's the boring work that obviously makes sense, and do that consistently, you become successful. If you're a fitness coach, you understand this. People are always looking for the new secret. They're always looking for the new thing. It's just the basics done consistently over years is what gets you there. But when you know the right ways of doing it as well, and you do that consistently early on, you get there much faster, which is what we want to go through today. So first of all, just to walk you through this, if you haven't read the book, $100 Million Leads, let me just show you this right now. So I've got 3 of them because he managed to upsell me on 3 of them. Can't even get it in here, but let's do a little thumbnail actually. That's actually terrible. But anyway, What I want to walk you through is just the core 4, first of all, which is obviously his framework. That's why I'm giving so much credit here to the actual framework itself. So let me just write this out for you so you understand it straight away. So we've got, let me just do a nice little thing, just exactly like he's done. So we'll do it like this, even though he does more of a rectangle, more of a square. So we've got outreach on both of them. I'll just go over the top here. So warm and then cold. And then we've got, what else would it be? So you've got social media. So basically, if I can try and simplify this again, content. So we've got content. And then we've got free. And this one is social media. I'm putting a little bit of a spin on this, so I'm not directly copying. And then we've got paid ads. Okay. Now, this is the only one that's got the word paid in it, right? Every other one is free. So the reason I'm drawing this out for you is just so you can see it very simple. And ask yourself, which one am I doing right now? Which one am I doing consistently? I can imagine all of you, if you're not living under a rock and you're thinking I can get away with running a business these days without posting content, you're probably all posting free content, basically posting to maybe Instagram, maybe you're doing YouTube, probably not. You're probably just doing Instagram, short form content, TikTok, and you're just hoping that, they get views, they go viral, blah, blah, blah. As soon as I get 1 million views, I'm going to be successful. I've had a video go viral, do 1.7 million views for a specific coaching video as well, and I can tell you, I gained 13,000 followers from that video, and literally a 0 conversion from that one video because it was the complete wrong target audience that it got fed to. It didn't result in any coaching sales. I can honestly tell you that from 1.7 million views. So we've done that, and we learned the hard way that that's not the way to scale a business. You need to be very specific with who you're reaching out to, who you're trying to talk to with your content. It's another quick story there now explaining that. So these are the 3 ones, 3 free ones you can do. So let me just break this down. So outreach, right? Let's just call it conversations, messaging. Warm and cold. So the way I see outreach as well, because you've obviously got inbound messaging, which is when people are messaging you. They start on the conversation. They're the one walking up to you in the street and saying hello and wanting to start a conversation. Now, that's very different, right? Outreach is something you can control. Inbound messages is something you can't control. You can't control when someone's going to walk up to you in the gym and ask you a question or a conversation. That's what you're hoping for with free content. So when you're posting out free content, you post on social media, you're hoping that people engage, you're hoping they like, they're hoping they comment, they're hoping they share it with a friend, and you're also hoping that they message you potentially. That does work, and that's very, very good. Like, I'm not saying not to do that. I'm just saying you can't control it. It's not a lever you can pull. These two at the top is a direct lever you can pull. And technically, if you do more volume and you focus on going viral, stuff like that, eventually it's going to be something that technically the more you put in, the more you're going to get out. But it's just so unreliable. It's not a direct control, I wouldn't say, because you're still hoping the algorithm gods like give you what you want. So this itself is direct control. So let's talk about cold outreach first of all. Cold outreach is literally going up to a stranger and starting a conversation. So you've got to have a strategy in place for that, and I'm going to go into more of the strategy in another video. So the next video on this will be more the strategy of what you can actually do. This is just the concept. So you need to pick one channel. You need to pick one of these to really focus on, and that's what we're going to go through. So cold is a complete stranger. Warm is someone that knows of you. Maybe they've engaged with your content. Maybe they've commented before, but you're starting the conversation. Maybe they've liked or followed you for a long time, and you're going through your followers and you're saying, oh, that person might be someone I could work with. They look like someone I would want to work with. And you start a message. That's more warm outreach. They're going to be more receptive and more open to your ideas because they've decided to follow you. They've decided to engage with you, or they've engaged with something you've done. So for me, right, the biggest change I made, and this was down to me spending thousands of pounds on mentorships, direct mentorships, one-to-one, mastermind events, going to networking events, buying courses online, trying to learn as much as I can. All I was doing from 2018 to about 2021 was just free content, hoping that, you know, I'd provide a good service to the small number of clients I've got. I was averaging between 20 to 25 clients at the time, active at once. And I was hoping, like, yeah, word of mouth will spread, people will, you know, refer them. That was all happening, and it was a good little business. Like, it was keeping me going. It was a good wage, decent wage for myself. But I wanted more. I wanted to scale. I wanted to help more people. I wanted to work with more people. And that's when I realized, right, if I just set targets for these, and I didn't just realize this, I was paying for all this advice. And then someone just said to me one day, you need to do this. It needs to be part of your daily task. And I know it sounds boring, and I know every other mentorship tells you to do it, and then people don't like to do it because the biggest reason why people don't like it is because they don't stay consistent with it. It's just like you're that bad fitness client that signs up for coaching, gets told, right, you need to eat 2,000 calories a day, and then you continuously don't hit that target. That's what outreach is. For business mentorships, you tell someone to do, let's say, 30 messages a day. You have to start 30 new conversations with someone every single day. They don't hit that target, then they're like, oh, that guy just told me to do outreach. But if you actually did it for 30, 60, 90 days, you would see a massive return in it. And that's the boring stuff people tell you to do. They don't do it, and then they say it's shit, it doesn't work. So it does work if you do it. So I would set 2 different targets. So one for cold, one for hot. For cold outreach, I was actually doing more. I was doing 30 a day. For warm outreach, I was doing 20 a day. And the beauty of this is if you hate it, which I do, it was the most hated thing I had to do because it felt like just such a low value task, even though it's a numbers game. And the more you do it, the more consistent you are, the better your response rate, the better your strategy becomes. The more you go out there and help people. And that's the strategy as well. The strategy I had was the lead magnet days, which people are saying now the lead magnets are dying, but as of 2025, they probably are because people are fed up with just free stuff being thrown at them all the time. But back then, it was like, how can I package something into like hours and hours and hours of my efforts into like a piece of content that's maybe a YouTube video combined with a PDF, like an ebook, and give this to someone literally when I meet them. So call outreach, message them, say, find out a little bit more about them, say, listen, I've done this, you can have it completely free, and it's obviously for the email address and phone number, so at least we get them in our database, or you don't even need that these days. You can just, you know, note down their Instagram profile, whatever you've contacted them on, and then you've got their information, you follow up with them in 10, 14 days, whatever you decide, but you've at least gone out given value first. So you're making a nice kind gesture, you're actually helping someone. It's a good strategy. If you're going to do a strategy, we're not going to talk about it today, but that's a good way of doing it so that you feel good about it as well. So that's the cold outreach method. The warm outreach method is just a conversation. You're just having a conversation with someone. You're seeing if they're interested. We've got a full strategy that we followed, because eventually what we did, because I absolutely hated it, one of the first hires I made was a VA. Then I brought it in-house, so I employed someone in-house. Best decision I ever made as well, because they fully understand me, they understood the brand, they understood the mission, and they actually cared. So that is one thing I would 100% delegate as soon as you can, because it's a task that needs to be done consistently. And then the busier you get, the more successful you become, the more time you spend on sales calls. The last thing you want to be doing is what you see as a low value, boring, mind-numbing task like outreach. That's something I would 100% delegate. So delegate that as soon as possible, and then it'll stay consistent within your business as one of the cogs that just keeps turning. And that's what it is. It's a cog that needs to be kept turning. So, and I'm going to talk about how you can delegate that now as well. But what I want you to do, take away from this video, just so you understand, is I want you to understand these are the 4 ways, the only 4 ways that you can get clients, because there is no other way. When you look at it, right, this is basically like one-to-many. This is also one-to-many. So any type of content you're doing, like it can reach thousands, potentially millions of people. This is one-to-one. So the one-to-one method, if you want to scale that up, you're going to have to delegate it, because if you don't do it, no one else is going to do it. So you need people to do that for you. Now, the other methods as well of the core 4, how to amplify. So how to amplify. So we put, I don't know if you can see this, to amplify, basically down here. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, let me go back to green. So this is when now you've got the strategy on lock. So you've figured out the strategy, because you need to do it yourself before you can delegate it, really. That's to truly understand what's going on in the mechanics of your business, and then you can actually teach someone pretty well. You're not just being a boss that's telling someone how to do something you've never done before. So I always feel better like that, unless you've got a lot of money behind you and you want to hire the best people so they know what they're doing more than you do. That's the next stage of really trying to scale a business. So this time, how to amplify. So we look at each one of them, right? So this, you need an employee. Yeah, so whether it's a VA or whether it's someone in-house, you need an employee to do that for you. The other one, if we look at social media, paid ads, let's go agency. So they can be running the ads for you, or they can be thinking of marketing campaigns for you, so you get an agency there. The other one we're going to do is affiliates. So these aren't directly related to the square above. And then you've also got customers. Yeah, so as your business grows, you've actually got customers. So we put referrals. I can't spell at all to save my life. So these are the ways to amplify reaching more people. So think about it. All we're doing is trying to get leads. So we're trying to amplify our message. We're trying to reach more people. So how do we do this beyond the constraints of the founder, of you, the business owner? It's simple. Employees scale up anything you're doing. So the more people you get to delegate it and do a better job, and eventually when you've got the money behind you, you can hire better people in your role than you could potentially ever do yourself, because you haven't got the skill set. Customer referrals. Now, one of my most hated phrases by people with a massive ego that are in coaching, especially the fitness industry, the irony is that they end up paying for business mentorships as well. But they believe, I don't need to do advertising. I don't need to do outreach. I don't do any of that stuff. And they think they're better than other people or other businesses because they don't think they're doing it, right? If you're posting on social media, whether you think you are or not, you're advertising, right? Whether you like to admit it or not, you're advertising. So that's a bit of a harsh reality check, but you need to understand that, right? The other thing as well is, if you're happy with not using all the tools to your advantage and get a worse result, then that's fine. You keep doing you do whatever you want to do. We will continue to do the things we know works, especially when the strategy is right and you're doing it for a good reason. I'm not telling you to go and outreach people and just be a pain. Be that person that doesn't put any effort in, doesn't even look at the profile and just sends a copy and paste message. Don't be that guy. Put the effort in. Just speak to these people like you would on the street. Start a conversation nicely with them. Offer them something of value. Be nice, be generous, and then follow up later if they genuinely feel like, and they go through the flow properly and they could benefit from your service. You're actually doing them a disservice by not telling them at least about the fact you offer this service and you could help them, right? So if you don't want to reach as many people as you can and you just think, oh, posting on social media isn't advertising, that's the best way to do it. Or worst of all, I don't need to advertise. My business just grows through word of mouth. That's fine. That's a lever that you literally have no control of. You can't scale, and you will never hit the numbers that you potentially could do. Even if you're doing well, you might think, I'm doing well. You're never going to hit the numbers you potentially could do because you're just too arrogant to admit that there are other levers that you could use to your advantage. But that's fine. You think you're better than other people because you don't advertise, even though you post on social media, and you just have people word of mouth because you provide such a great service. Now, to amplify referrals, have a referral strategy in place. Definitely have something to incentivize them. It depends on what you can offer. Work out your CAC, work out your cost to acquire a customer, whether that's in time or money, depending on its content, outreach, wherever. Work it out, and then offer something to that customer that's lower or slightly or of equal value to your usual CAC, and that will amplify the amount of referrals you actually get. Different strategies there as well to talk about, but trying to keep this short and sweet. Referral scheme is very important. Affiliates, you're not really going to get that directly with coaching because you're not going to be able to incentivize them enough. It depends on the deal, and it depends on the size of your audience as well and what you can offer them, and again your CAC of what you can offer the affiliate. You've got to work that out and work out potentially a deal there that makes sense. An agency, I would only go down this route if you've got a big enough offer where you can afford your CAC to go up, because it will be far more expensive paying an agency and running paid ads. That route is something you should do way further down the line, and you've got to make sure your offer can actually afford it and still be profitable, because it's not just about scaling revenue. It's about making sure you stay profitable as you scale as well. So yeah, take on from this is basically figure out this is where you're at right now. You need to really double down on one of these channels. I'm talking just one of these, right? That should be your priority. I'm not saying don't do the others. I'm not saying don't post. I'm not saying don't do warm outreach. I'm saying figure out one of them to be a master at, then you can move to the next one. Just focus, and then you can scale from there. And then when you've nailed that one, I'd probably move to amplify. So if it's like, right, I've nailed cold outreach and I've got a really good thing going here, let's get more people to do it for me, and then I can scale that way. That's all you need to do. You don't need to master them all and then move to trying to scale or amplify. But yeah, anyway, I feel like I've rambled for long enough now. So I hope this helps. The whole point of this channel is just to teach you what I've learned through my experience. And we scaled an academy, we scaled a gym, we've done all this thing, and I wish that there was videos out there that broke stuff down in the way I'm trying to back then, and it wasn't available. Like I said, I probably would have achieved the goal I had 3 years before if I knew this information. So I'm trying to get this out there, trying to help more people get started, because I think the world we're moving into, especially with AI, people are going to need to run their own service businesses as solopreneurs. So I'm trying to put this out there so that people can actually take advantage of it and help. And if you're interested in obviously converting more viewers into followers online, we've got a software tool to help with that, which is Social Proof. So check that out in the link below. But thank you, subscribe if you're trying to grow a service business, and I'll see you soon.